I don't know if you want to say anything in the opening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Joe, and with me, as always, is my best friend, my ride or die, Scott. Hi, Scotty.
Hi, honey. What are we changing the format?
I don't know, you told me to say
Well,
something.
I thought you were going to say, like a joke or an opening, like comment or something. Like we like to put in the beginning of these things.
Oh,
But that's not how it went down.
no, it's not, but I'm gonna be a star. Like Pearl.
Now it's garbage.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are just another movie night. And I'm Scott.
It's gonna get personal.
And with me on the center stage is JoJo Mound.
JoJo Mounds?
Yeah. Some kind of Annie Lennox song put here.
That makes me sound like I have like huge jugs. Mounds?
Well, I mean, what's a good stripper name? What would you go with?
I don't know. I always like the name Honey Buns or Jugs McGillicuddy.
So when I said mounds, you said that sounded like I had big boobs. But when you say Jugs McGillicuddy, that's much better.
It's a fantasy world. I mean, honestly.
Oh, well, I know. That's why I said mounds. JoJo Mounds.
JoJo Mounds.
You know what we're doing today? We're talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash indeed. This is our show to review, spoil, debate, crap on, give second chances to the hated, the lowest rated, and the much debated, and often forgotten flicks of the internet, all while asking the question, is this the worst movie ever made? And if not, what is? Because here on the show, we believe you can't really review movies unless you know what the worst is. And we're on TNA month, thus the opening here.
Yeah, I think I want to change my stripper name to Heiny Biter. I like that one.
Heiny Biter?
Heiny Biter.
Is your first name Heiny and your second name is Biter?
Yeah, Heiny.
Mrs. Biter?
Yeah.
Mrs. Heiny Biter.
Mrs. Heidi Biter. I like it. I like it a lot.
Heiny Biter.
Phone
Party of
call.
one. Yeah.
Phone call at the front desk. Heiny Biter.
Can you be a Heiny Biter and be solo? No, you have to be with somebody to be a Heiny Biter.
No, maybe I just go around biting heinies because I like to.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Where have we gone? Where are we? Today we are talking about a movie. Let me tell you something. We're talking about a movie that contains all of these plots. And if I forget one, please remind me, okay? We have a custody battle.
You may make visitation to your daughter every other week and on Christmas Eve. And of course on Easter Sunday when you're wearing your pretty little Easter outfits.
We have a drug addict vice squad informant.
Your Honor, being an informer for the Dade County Vice Squad hardly qualifies him to raise a 7-year-old child.
We have his family who have dogs that attack them constantly.
I thought they were cats.
Did they say?
Yeah,
I
they're
thought they said
cats.
canine drugs.
She has real wolves.
I don't want you touching those animals. They're not like dogs.
No, feline drugs.
Feline drugs? Okay, so they have cats that attack them. We have a woman who has lost her job trying to get a new job who is forced into stripping.
Oh no, they're wolves. They say wolves, and they're wolves. Yeah, sorry,
No problem.
dogs. Wolves.
We have the Rojo sugarcane family.
Congressman Dilbeck is chairman of the subcommittee on sugar, okay? Which means the Rojo family cannot allow him to lose this election because their price supports are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. We have a senator.
It's none other than David L. Dilbeck.
So what?
Do you follow politics, Mr. Shaq?
Do I look like I follow politics?
David Dilbeck, is the United States Congressman from the 5th District, okay? He's up for re-election in 6 weeks.
No. Is he?
What is he?
I don't know. They don't really. They just say
No, they say-
congressman.
Oh, congressman.
Yeah.
Sorry. We have a congressman and his sexual fetishes. We have a murder mystery. We have a yogurt cockroach scheme to get rich. We also have a python debacle. We have a warfare between 2 strip clubs. We have child endangerment. We have a cop and his family just trying to vacation. We also have a man who's just in love with a stripper and wants to help her at any cost. We also have, I know there's other ones. I already made a joke about Annie Lennox. An Annie Lennox obsession.
Yeah, there's too many Annie Lennox songs. I do like Annie Lennox, but it seems like this is too much.
And also, in the oddest plot ever, since this is TNA month and we started with Showgirls, we also have the return of a stripper from Showgirls. I don't even know if you caught it.
I did not.
Yep, one of the weird focal points that didn't make any sense in Showgirls, where a character is introduced as a new character and actually has a weird plot line in the back of Showgirls that I complained about. Why is this here? And then we found out that she's in Showgirls 2 and she's the main focus. Well, she's also a stripper in this that has an odd focus on her in this movie as well, where for some reason in the middle of the movie, we get an entire strip dance from this woman. Yeah, it's the same actress.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she had played Penny in Showgirls, and she is playing Tiffany in tonight's movie, which is StripTease, the 1996 Demi Moore classic.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is a movie that has a 4.5 on IMDb and a 37 on Metacritic. It cost $50 million, and it grossed 113. It is considered a huge bomb. This was directed by Andrew Bergman, who is also the writer of Blazing Saddles, Soap Dish, Fat Fletch, and The Freshman. This Demi Moore was paid $12.5 million for this film, which was at the time the highest paid actress ever. Test audiences laughed during the showing of this movie at all the wrong places, so they had to go re-edit the entire film. Demi Moore was called back for reshoots, but she had already shaved her head for G.I. Jane. Burt Reynolds hunted down the role for this movie because at the time he was considered uncastable. So he was forced to audition and then also take a pay cut, which was only $350,000. And it was a huge debate about this movie where everybody was knocking Demi Moore outside of the movie, saying that she was forced to strip and she was shunned. This is considered one of the movies that ruined her career, and she disappeared from Hollywood for a while. But, in a fun fact for only Joe, Jennifer Tilly came to her defense. Jennifer Tilly said, after everybody was attacking her for the nudity in this film, she said, most of the women who you hear running down Demi Moore have done nude or sex scenes themselves. Most of them were also nominated. So.
Oh my God. You know what? Thank you, Jennifer Tilly. I love you even more now. She's a goddess. I love Jennifer Tilly. You know, honestly, why are they attacking Demi
I don't know.
Moore? Okay,
I don't know. I don't understand it at all, and I didn't understand it when it came out.
I mean, I'm going to tell you something. Demi Moore looks freaking phenomenal in this.
Well, the only reason we're watching this movie is because you said you hadn't seen this or Showgirls, and that's how this whole month started.
Yeah, no, I never seen either one. I just never had an opportunity to, or I heard bad things, so I was just like, I'm not into it. But I will say that my initial reaction of this film was, unlike Showgirls, this is a movie with TNA in it.
Is.
Like, it's a movie with TNA in it.
Yeah.
Showgirls was TNA with a movie in it. You know? Like, it's all it was. That's the way I felt. Because Showgirls did not have any sort of plot or anything to give a shit about.
Yeah, and I would say there's hardly a movie in there, too.
Right. So this movie was a movie with some TNA in it. That's it. I that was my first reaction to this.
Now, my question is, did you see G.I. Jane?
I did not.
You've never seen it?
No.
Okay, I was wondering about that because we try not to talk about the movie during the movie so we can talk about it on the show. But we couldn't help a few times say stuff to each other. But you had started mentioning, well, I'll give Demi Moore this. You said she looks way better than Elizabeth Berkley did in Showgirls.
Yep.
And I agree. Now, what I had said to you was she's in peak form. Like, she should be, and I said this, and I don't think I said, we'll talk about it later. But I said that she should kind of be congratulated on getting in such good shape. Because if you see G.I. Jane as well, she is in, like, peak physical condition. She looks incredible. And what I like is that she's embracing it. This is like right after she was pregnant on the cover of the magazine where she was naked and people were like frowning on her for showing her pregnant belly. And she was making a movement about how we should find women's bodies beautiful regardless. And all people should be celebrating their bodies. So she did this, I think, as kind of a, like, in that movement. Like, well, I should celebrate my body. So she did this movie.
Good for her, which is funny because back in 1996 or whatever, she was pregnant and she did that photo shoot nude. That was considered like, oh my God. Now, people are on Instagram whipping out their freaking boobs just to be able to scoot around the nudity factor. So they're pretending to breastfeed their babies, but they're really just showing their tits. I'm like, okay, yeah, clever. No one's frowning upon that stupid shit, you know? Yeah. It's like, that's just clear, just fuckery.
Yeah.
And back then they were giving Demi Moore shit about it. It's like, what's
it's
wrong with you people?
It's crazy, and it shouldn't have happened, and it's a sad thing that it did actually happen. You know what I mean?
Sucks for her.
And I would say, like, if you watch G.I. Jane, which I definitely think we should.
I definitely want to.
You should definitely see it because it was made back to back with this movie.
Okay, I want to. I really have always liked Demi Moore. She was my, in all my 80s movies, St. Elmo's Fire and stuff. And I've always liked her. Always.
Yeah, I have always liked her too. This is one of the reasons I saw this in the theater. Of course, when you grow up, you kind of have a crush on Demi Moore. You automatically did growing up.
I mean, how could you not have a crush on her in this movie? I mean, she's beautiful.
Seeing this version of her while growing up with her, and I'm like, I don't even know how old she was during the filming of this movie, but she's even better looking in this film than she ever has been. That's what I was saying. She reached peak condition, like just physical form, and I would say that she is beautiful. With whatever you can say about this movie, and there's a lot to say about this movie, she is without a doubt the highlight of it. There's maybe two other highlights. Now, I'm not saying acting wise, maybe, or per se, because the story isn't good around her. But she is pretty, and there's a reason you go to the theater and you see something like this, because you're like, okay, Demi Moore, being physically, just putting it out there and being beautiful. That's definitely like a reason people would go to the theater. I think that G.I. Jane is much more of like a role where it's like there's a reason for it, and it's a better movie, and her acting, I think, is much better in that movie. You'd have to see that. Unfortunately, this is, unfortunately, TNA is a draw for everybody to go see a movie. Like, it is a draw. People want to see that stuff. But off the heels of Showgirls that had just come out, which was a huge bomb, this was destined to die. But the way that she got shunned, basically, and completely kind of kicked out of Hollywood after these two movies is mind-boggling to me. I mean, this movie actually has a giant cast of people. And, I mean, we know, like, almost all these people, and they were kind of in the heights of their career, in the beginning of their careers.
Yeah, I know Ving Rhames was.
Yeah, he had just, Pulp Fiction had just come out not too long ago. So Ving Rhames was getting in movies more.
Did he just do Con Air?
Yeah, probably around the same time as well.
Yeah.
You have Robert Patrick, who was a Terminator,
Yeah.
He had just come out, and I don't know if Copland was before or after this, but he was really starting to get more of a name. Unfortunately, Burt Reynolds' career had completely disappeared, and he was going through a lot of bad stuff. This was the hope for his relaunch, but the movie did so poorly. Luckily, he followed this movie up with Boogie Nights. And Boogie Nights was he got nominated for it. He made a resurgence. The fact that he fought to do this movie is blowing my mind. I don't know why he chose that. He thought this was a good role for him. And when I have to tell you this, the ending of this movie was reshot because people found it very, very unsettling. And apparently, and this is going to be mind blowing, but apparently the character that Burt Reynolds plays tries to rape her at the end of this film in the sugar field.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the hell was this movie originally? Was this a comedy? Was it supposed to be taken seriously?
I don't know. I feel like this is a dramatic movie with some comedy elements tossed in.
It's weird.
Because some of the characters are so outlandish.
It's like cartoon characters.
I mean, case in point, Burt Reynolds.
Reynolds and Robert Patrick.
They were both very cartoonish characters in this. But I really think that, I don't know. I mean, aside from this movie being completely too much cartoon situations, I didn't hate this.
Yeah, this is a funny thing about this movie. I find this movie very mediocre. Like, I know that people say it's terrible, but I'm like, I don't necessarily think it's terrible.
Okay, well,
it has a lot of problems.
If you think about the plot, okay,
and I said there's a lot of things going on for no reason in this movie.
Quite ridiculous.
Yeah,
okay.
This could have been tightened up to be a shorter movie.
Okay, well, the plot, I'll just give you a little synopsis really quick. The plot is that Demi Moore has a child played by her own real-life daughter, Rumor Willis, in this, and she's married to, or going to be divorced or whatever, from Robert Patrick, who the whole entire scene opens with them in court. Now the judge, who knows Robert Patrick as an informant for the FBI or whatever,
he knows him as a pro football player who, like a football star, who was a local, because the movie takes place in Florida, which is funny in itself because you can clearly see they got the wrong area in the opening. It's not where they're saying it is at all. He says he's a pro football player. And he was one of the best linebackers I ever saw. So he's like giving him a pass.
Yeah, so he's clearly like not right in the head, Robert Patrick. But because the judge knows him, he relinquishes the rights of the mother, Demi Moore,
who's an FBI,
who is an FBI assistant. She works for the FBI.
She's a secretary for the FBI.
And she loses her job at the FBI because her husband is an informant or something.
He's actually a drug addict.
He's a drug addict.
And he to get out of jail, he started informing for the Vice Squad.
Yes. Okay, fine. So she loses her job at the FBI because of him and loses custody of her daughter. So she starts stripping.
Yeah.
Now, I had a problem with this plot line from minute one.
Of course.
Because
it's the most absurd thing you've ever heard.
You're telling me that this woman who worked for the FBI cannot get another job someplace else, or she doesn't have any friends at the FBI that can help her out to get another job or anything like that. She has the last resort to go to a freaking strip club and get a job. Okay. That's ridiculousness number one.
Yeah,
right out of the gate.
And to add to that, apparently, so this is based off a book, which is really crazy.
What?
And the book, apparently a lot of people I've seen debating commentary on this where people say it doesn't follow the book at all. And other people saying it follows the book fairly well. And then I've heard, well, the movie misses the point on why she has to go strip. In the book, it's a big thing. There's a lot more apparently to it that has put her like on some kind of blacklist to not hire.
Oh, come
I know,
on.
it's
She's
baffling.
not a criminal.
I know.
Like,
Something else is involved. And if she was playing, there's a couple things I think could have fixed this movie really well. One of them could have been that she maybe had been arrested.
Okay.
In correlation to his arrest or whatever happened to him. And maybe she looked bad because of him, or he threw her under the bus.
Right.
That would have maybe helped out a lot, that she had a prior. And a lot of people wouldn't hire her because of that. That would have fixed it.
Yeah. But I mean, they didn't even go in any sensible direction. It was just like, okay, she has to resort to stripping.
Yeah.
Now, I had a question for you. I'm like, why does she think that she is going to look like a stand-up mother to the court system if she's working in a club every night where there's, naked people, debauchery, maybe drugs, who knows? That world is crazy. Why would she think that that would be a good idea? I mean, I know she needs money, but at the end of the day, you want to get your kid back.
Yeah. And she multiple times says, I've been working here for 8 weeks. So it's only been like within a year that she couldn't get a job, that her last resort was, well, I have a really nice body, so let me go strip. Like, I mean, that was where her mind went. At least give us some details as to why and how she thought strip club. Going from, you're telling me no FBI agency or anybody at the FBI that she worked with would be stand up enough to get her a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or they blamed her for her husband's misdeeds.
It's so stupid. Like, that was just like, at first I was like, okay, this is definitely going to become something else, right? I mean, I think the title of the movie was kind of a misstep. I mean, it makes it seem like a smutty film, there's not.
It's weird.
But it opened straight out of the gate with you already sympathize with this woman. Like in Showgirls, I did not sympathize with Nomi.
No.
At all.
No.
I thought she was the most unlikable lunatic of all
They
time.
did a poor job explaining her and making anything gel.
Yeah, but with this woman, I automatically felt like, oh my God, are they freaking kidding? This would never happen in real life, ever, ever.
But because I think they hired her daughter, her real life daughter, there is a connection there that you feel on screen that kind of works in the scenes that you see her caring and worrying about her. Although in the movie, she puts her life in jeopardy multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, the shit that happens. I mean, so we do get a lot of, the whole strip club, and we meet Ving Rhames, who is the bouncer at the club.
Oh, we're going to show up at the club?
Yeah.
We got to say the name. The Eager Beaver.
Eager Beaver. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I do. It's great.
It is great.
And that's where I would dance, if I was Heine Biter.
Yeah. And I will say that the stripping here is more interesting than the Showgirls whole movie. I will say that there are some strippers here, not necessarily. There's a girl dressed in, she's in the Cats. I don't even know what the hell's going on there.
She was wearing an entire
cat outfit.
Yeah. Okay, so I do appreciate the dancing in this movie a lot more than Showgirls.
Yes.
But I will say that Showgirls was more about the Las Vegas showgirl life.
But that showgirl life was bizarre in that movie, where none of the dancing was interesting. It was all baffling.
What I liked about this is the fact that it was a strip club, but they put some kind of, I hate to say this word, but glamour into it, where they almost, I'm not gonna lie, I have been to some strip clubs before, and I will say that I have seen some nasty shit, okay?
None of this is in reality.
Nasty, okay? I'm talking about just the grossest.
They mistake stripping for cabaret.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that's perfect. That's perfect. So the dances in this, where I was highly invested in it. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
My favorite bit. Okay, I actually find Demi Moore's dancing in this movie sexy. I know you said a little spastic. Okay, I get that, but I do like she's doing like the cabaret where she's in a full suit and she's stripping out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of more burlesque.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I will say that Nomi, she was spastic. She was terrible.
Oh, it's
terrible.
insane. It's like it's the whole movie's on speed. That movie.
Yes, but Demi was very. She was a little too stiff, but otherwise she did really good. I mean, she looked phenomenal.
She's selling it. And
she was
selling it, even if it's not great. And I think that's my point. It's not great. It's still selling it, and it is definitely way sexier than the other movie that was supposed to be sexy.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell? And I know this is also supposed to be sexy, but I think that Demi Moore is definitely winning in that category in this movie.
She definitely is.
Well, my favorite bit that I have to point this out. If I don't, I'll be really mad at myself if I forget. There's a part in this movie where she's stripping, and the owner of the club and Vig Brames can tell, oh, she's emotional tonight because she's stripping emotionally. I died. I was like, that is so funny. Like, what's with her tonight? And she's doing like on a whole emotional dance on stage.
Yeah.
That's like full choreographed, like emotional. It's like Kevin Bacon dancing in Footloose to himself because he's angry.
Oh my God, I love that angry dance.
Who is this for? This angry dance? He's just like, I got to get it out. She's doing the same thing in stripping.
That angry dance is for Kevin Bacon because
only
Ren
Kevin
McCormick
Bacon.
is going through something, okay, and he needs to just get it all out. It's like Gleaming the Cube, when you just let it all go.
Gotta let it go.
You just gotta let it all go.
No, Footloose. Not Footloose. The other one with the welder. She does the whole.
Oh, Flashdance?
Yeah.
Oh, Jennifer Beals really, her character Alex is going through something.
She's
She's trying to get, into the dance school, and it's a lot,
Well, that's the same thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
Well, I also love that we meet the other strippers, and we also find out for no reason that there's a rival strip club across the street.
Was it directly across the street?
He says, I'm going to go next door.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I think that one was called something Wood or something funny, too. Oh, the Meat Factory.
The Meat
Factory. And he goes over to the Meat Factory and sees a woman dancing with a snake. And this becomes a plot line. We have to watch the entire snake dance. And then we kept worrying about the whole time. I'm staring at the snake going, any moment this snake's going to wrap around her neck and kill her, right?
That's what I was thinking.
And then you're like, what is this plot about? What is this about? Only to show that the Burt Reynolds character is in going to each strip club, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess it's peppered in here, but while we're also watching strip dancing. Like strip teasing, whatever the hell you call it. I don't know, stripping. And then you find out like a subplot of him taking the snake stripper from the other place and bringing it over to his club. And then apparently he's waiting for the snake to be shipped to his strip club.
Someone can just go and get it. It's like right across the street.
And the best thing is, it's supposed to be a joke that does not land at all. They send it as a message, just like a fish in The Godfather or whatever. He sleeps with the fishes.
Luca Brasi.
Yeah, it's wrapped in newspaper. A dead snake is wrapped in newspaper. A giant python.
Yeah, so
this is a subplot in this movie for no reason.
Yeah, you switched clubs on us. You left us. You're a traitor. Here's your dead snake, bitch.
You're like, why is this movie 2 hours? Oh, I know.
Oh, I
There's
know.
50 subplots that go nowhere and mean nothing.
Well, yeah, we don't need to mention those subplots.
Oh, I have to because they're so baffling, and it brings the movie down because you keep going, why is this a thing? Like, a body is... So, one of the main plot points of this movie, which doesn't feel like it's a plot point at all, actually. It feels like it didn't even happen at one point. A guy is obsessed with Demi Moore's character at the club. By the way, she strips to her own name, which seems like a really bad idea if you want to get a job.
That? Yeah, I mean, so everyone... I would think that most women who work in these clubs have pseudonyms or, some kind of thing they call themselves. Like I said, honey buns or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she's Erin Grant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's make it super duper easy for greasy, disgusting, perverted guys to stalk your house. Because they could just look in the yellow pages and be like, oh, Erin Grant, she lives right here. Let me go, peep in her window or do something creepy.
And you pointed out, how does this guy know about her enough? Like, there's a point where he says, I can help you with your child, getting your child back. And you said, how would he know?
How the fuck does he know?
Is everybody just randomly talking about her personal life in the club.
So while she's on stage stripping, is everyone getting a personal memo about her life?
But I explain this because she's using her full name, which means he can find out information if he wants to.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I said, "Welcome to the stage, Aaron Grant." Are you fucking kidding me? What asshole wrote this movie and decided, okay, yeah, that's what, strippers and exotic dancers really do.
Yeah.
They use their real names so people can stalk them and,
Exactly.
It's so stupid.
So, yeah, this guy is obsessed with her. And, of course, he's portrayed as a real loser type guy, a very stereotypical guy who's in love with a pretty girl kind of thing, And what happens is, for some reason, he figures that he can blackmail one. I think Burt Reynolds sees Demi Moore dancing, and it turns out that he's supposed to be like undercover, going to the strip clubs, and he's a congressman.
He has to go incognito so
Yeah.
no one notices that he's going around to these clubs.
A congressman who sits on as the presidential seat at the Rojo sugar cane empire, and he sits on the board of directors of it, and that's a big plot point in this movie for some strange reason. And he wants to get reelected, and he's up for election, but he also has a crazy perverted side. And so he goes to the strip clubs and he sees a bachelor party. This is so many subplots and so many characters for nowhere that they could just end. There's a bachelor party. The bachelor party guy gets on the stage, and Burt Reynolds' character decides to go on stage and knock this guy out with a bottle.
Why though?
Because he's in love with her the moment he sees her, and he's like, "That's an angel I have to save." But he's drunk off his ass.
Fine.
So somehow someone takes a picture of this.
Who
we don't
takes
really
the
know.
fucking picture?
Yeah, but the one dorky guy who loves Demi Moore is all happy, and he recognizes the congressman instantly, and actually says his name out loud. And he goes, "Hey, go, whatever, for saving the girl that I love." Well, he comes up with a weird scheme out of the movie and says, "I can go and blackmail this guy and talk him into helping you get your child." And then suddenly we cut to Armando Sante, is that it?
Armand Asante.
Asante, who has the immortal line in Demolition Man that is just one of the worst acted lines of all time.
I never understood that. Why did you judge me? Why did you judge me?
You killed innocent people.
The means to an end.
You started a massacre.
I caused the revolution.
You betrayed the law.
Law!
He shows up in this movie just out of the blue as a new character sitting on the bayou with his family, and his wife is recognizable, by the way. I know her instantly.
Yeah.
She's in everything too. She has like a moment role, and their son finds a dead body, and he's like,
Dad! There's a floater!
"Oh, we're on vacation," and he just so happens to be a detective who finds the character's body at the thing. Now I'm like, this is moment one of rewrites. Why would you make this guy with a family happen to be vacationing where the body of the plot comes in, and he's also the detective, the district that the movie takes place in, although he's on vacation?
Yeah, it's just a little bit extra.
It's so extra. Now, the way that you fix this plot, the rewrite, is you have him be a love interest. And you have him just be a cop who's called out to find the body. The detective that shows up on the scene of the crime, and then him and Demi Moore can have chemistry, and you can have a whole plot line there, and make it so this movie has reason for this character to be so involved in her life.
Yeah, I have a problem with the whole Asante thing. The whole his whole plot line is ridiculous.
It is refreshing to have a family man trying to help out another person once he finds out about her life. That is refreshing. You don't see that very often in movies. I kind of like it, but I feel like it's a lot of wasted moments in the movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's like it's wasted in a way where they could have built up, somebody in her life that actually wants to help her, instead of having every character in the movie be like weird cartoon characters that show up off and on.
Yes, but I will say that I'm happy that they didn't do a love interest in this one, because we had it in Showgirls and it was stupid. I didn't want
Where's the love interest in that?
Kyle MacLachlan, and there's stupid
was a
sex
love interest?
scenes or what? Yeah, whatever.
I guess.
Yeah, it was a love interest. This didn't have it, and it didn't need it. There's too much else going on here.
I think it could have helped a success a little bit more. I think a lot of movies and people kind of expect the meet cute, and these two characters find each other, and then and it could be like a struggle of like trying to help her and take care. But unfortunately, that character is like spread out into two other characters because we also have the bouncer played by Ving Rhames, like you mentioned, who has his own plot lines that also don't go anywhere, like him trying to have a get-rich scheme where he wants to put a cockroach in a thing. And then his lawyer just so happens to be the relative of the bachelor party guys that got hit over the head.
Okay, wait. Can you just dial it back for a second?
Oh, it's insane.
Because you can't just say the whole cockroach yogurt thing. Ving Rhames has a get-rich-quick scheme with this sleazy lawyer that has an office on top of a freaking grocery store, okay?
I'm so mad I'm forgetting that actor's name again because I mention him every time we see him.
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
So, honestly, he's... So, the whole entire plot line with Ving Rhames is completely unnecessary, but he has an idea to put a cockroach in yogurt and say he ate it and got sick and he was going to sue.
He said he actually got shocked.
Oh, he got so shocked that his hair fell out.
Yes.
Okay. Well, he's bald as fuck anyway, but like it's just that was hysterical, but not needed. Not needed. So that's his lawyer and that's how his lawyer gets put in the movie. But it's so stupid. We don't need this.
But here's the thing. So there's a whole plot line where Ving Rhames is like, for some reason, threatening his lawyer to help him. And he like bumbles the whole cockroach scheme and then comes up with another scheme when his cousin or whoever the hell it is comes to him with the information that the congressman hit him over the head or some person did. And it comes to him that, oh, it was a congressman. We can blackmail the congressman. And for some reason, asks Ving Rhames because it just so happened to be at his strip club.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, what a small world that every single character connects. Like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So Stuart Pankin, that's the actor, I love him. He shows up as the lawyer, and he's like, oh, I'm going to blackmail the guy, Ving Rhames, help me, because it's their strip club. He goes and decides to go to Burt Reynolds' one of his shows where he's trying to, run for re-election.
It's just a freaking like recruiting thing to get voters to vote for him.
Yeah,
he's campaigning.
It's actually kind of every time he's on screen, he's kind of funny, but he's like insane, Burt Reynolds, in this movie, and he decides to tell him straight up, I have some blackmail information on you, and what happens? He's just shown dead later on in the movie, this character.
Yeah.
The lawyer just ends up dead. This is a running plot line. Like, there's a mystery here, and then you're really not given any information of who's the killer. No. It doesn't matter.
This
These characters
situation is so freaking convoluted. It's too convoluted for a movie like this.
It's too convoluted, unnecessarily.
There's too many players involved in this silliness. That's what I'm saying, though. There's a movie plot here with some boobs thrown in. I mean, there's like... It is a lot like Showgirls in the way where like they show a movie plot and, feelings happening on the side, but then they cut to boobs. Like they have those moments.
But at least Showgirls is like, here's the plot. Woman tries to get famous.
Yeah.
And then there's like maybe some weird subplots in the background, which were unnecessary in Showgirls. This one is filled with connections, and this person's connected to this person, and this thing happened. It's like layers upon layers of unnecessary plot points.
Yeah.
Like they could have had like the bouncer and Ving Rhames and Demi Moore have like a weird chemistry where he wants to help her and take care of her. But it's like almost bordering on comedy, and then sometimes it's like this is supposed to be cute. And I do kind of like them in the scenes together, but I also can't help but go, why is this here?
I was feeling like that through the whole movie because I would be, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was invested in this movie. I wanted to see how this is going to play out. I mean, the guy that was obsessed with her, he was just a harmless guy that really liked her, wanted to help her out. He ends up dead. I was like, oh, this is like a mystery. We obviously know that Burt Reynolds and his group had something to do with his death.
But it's never actually clear until the last moment why,
Right.
which one of these people actually did it. You kind of go, it has to be him, but then they almost seem to say, oh, Burt Reynolds is killing people. But then it's like, that's not possible.
Burt
He's
Reynolds
too
is
stupid.
like too stupid. He's such a mimbo in this. He's just like he's like a Southern gentleman with like the worst hair.
He's got a hairpiece on.
Hairpiece. I mean, it's just awful. And it was so weird seeing Burt Reynolds with no mustache. I feel weird seeing him with no mustache. He was just weird looking.
Yeah.
But I think he was too dumb to know what his goons were doing. His campaign people were they're the ones that killed this poor guy that was trying to help Demi Moore. They tossed him in the freaking river. But I don't understand why. Like, what did they have to gain from killing this
Because they
poor
were
man?
blackmailing him, and this is what I was talking about when I was laughing about the sugar cane family thing. We actually see, there's a scene where the boat, it actually says the sugar, like, king, Miami, Florida, or something like that.
Doesn't it say Sugar Baby or something?
Sugar Baby, yeah. And it's owned by what is played like the cartel of sugar. It's like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be... Why would they do this? And you find out that we have to get him reelected because he's on the side of the sugar guy.
I don't understand.
What?
Sugar is, like, thrown literally in your face, the whole idea of sugar in this movie. They show people working in the fields with the sugar.
They talk about how little they're paid, and that's like a subplot as well. Like,
I don't get
the
it.
well-being of the people working the fields.
What does that have to do with anything that's happening?
It's the reason why everybody is killing people for Burt Reynolds.
And he's completely oblivious. He
Actually says, "Oh, you do what you got to do." He actually okayed the murders of people.
Did he really?
That's what he says at the end of this movie.
Sister Malcolm, just do what you have to do. The jury, the fat lawyer, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And he did.
They get it on tape.
Yeah, that's right. That's the best part. So Burt Reynolds becomes obsessed with Demi Moore to the fact that he cracks somebody over the head with a bottle, and his handler...
Instantly, the moment he sees her.
Yeah, his handler drags him out of the club because he's supposed to be incognito. But somebody recognizes him, and obviously it's the guy that ended up dead.
Yeah, said that.
So that's how it comes out. Okay, fine. Then what ensues from here is that they are now pursuing Demi Moore because she is caught on camera with him on the stage because the guy from the bachelor party tried to be up on her, and that's when he got cracked over the head. So she's in that picture. But why do they care so much about her?
They don't. The only reason she's even involved because the lawyer asked Ving Rhames, "Oh, I want you to help me blackmail this guy," and he says, "But you leave my friend Aaron out of this."
Right.
Right. So he leaves. He's like, leave her out of it. She's not attached. The only reason she keeps getting sucked in to this multi-layered Inception level insanity of a plot is that Burt Reynolds wants her badly, so badly that he makes his handler steal a lint from a laundromat, a public laundromat, and steal lint from her
dryer.
From her dryer, but it's red.
Okay.
Can we? I don't understand what is happening in the sequence.
I got it. So I was paying attention.
Please.
So Demi Moore takes her kid. They're doing laundry at the laundromat, and they're taking the clothes out of the dryer, and I see like a red sweater and red underwear. I don't know if you missed that.
So everything was red.
No. She just had a red sweater and red underwear, which would, contribute to the red lint. So Burt Reynolds sends his handler to go to the, to get some. He doesn't send him to the laundromat. He just says, go get something of hers that's very intimate.
Yes.
Now, I thought in this scene
panty.
that she was going to drop her panties on the floor and he was going to pick them up.
From the basket?
He was going to steal. No, he goes and takes the lint from the dryer that her clothes were spinning around in.
And I would say that the lint looks like a pair of panties.
It does at first.
I don't think it looks like lint at all. If anything, this looks like a piece of Elmo. Like what? I've done our clothes in our house a billion times. I've changed the lint trap. I have never seen multicolored lint like that.
No,
before.
well, because all of my clothes are black.
I mean, it would have to be like a feather boa or something that's getting washed is like that much coming off of it into the, like what the heck? It was such a gigantic sponge looking thing. And he brings that to Burt Reynolds. Now, this is probably the best moment.
It was the
of all
funniest thing
time.
in the whole movie.
It's one of the craziest moments. The fact that Burt Reynolds did this, he is covered in Vaseline in underwear or boxers,
cowboy boots,
and a vest only, and he's covered from head to toe in Vaseline, and he gets the lint and smells it, and he later on tells Demi Moore, what she's like, what did you do with my lint? And he's like, I made love to it, of course.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was like, okay, I know it's supposed to be comical.
I'm like, oh my
all of his
God.
scenes were so extra in this film. But he and Robert Patrick
They're
was out of
funny,
his
though.
mind. So what happens? The plot gets thicker because Demi Moore gets illegal custody of the kid.
He does. You're saying it the nice way. She actually steals the child,
She
and
does.
because another layer of this movie is that when Demi Moore meets the detective, she tells him like he wrongly sees her as a stripper only and doesn't really take her seriously. But she starts telling him what's going on in her life and who she is, and he's kind of floored that all of these bad things have happened to her. So he actually automatically cares about her, and she asks him, "Please help me talk to Vice Squad and see my deadbeat husband, who's a drug addict, is wrongfully giving them information. See if they can get them to stop having him as an informant so I can use that against him in trial to get rights to my
The
child,
kid.
to my child."
So she
And-
tells him that he's like doing criminal activity, which he is because he's
like
stealing
wheelchairs and
from
medical
a
equipment.
hospital
Yeah.
and medical equipment from a hospital, and he's got his kid involved in this.
Yes.
She's acting like the patient that's sitting in the wheelchair that he's wheeling around.
Yeah.
It's hysterical. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this guy has custody of a kid.
So what do you mean he's a wheelchair salesman?
There's one nice thing about hospitals. A lot of kids in chairs are really sick, and I wave them in the hospital and they smile back just like on Jerry Lewis.
And you do this with Daddy every day?
Well, on Fridays I stay with Aunt Rita.
That's a real wholesome environment.
The guy does it, but one of my favorite bits is, and by the way, we were joking about Annie Lennox. Every time you see her strip or dance in our house or whatever, it's to Annie Lennox, except for one Prince song at one point.
Yeah.
But no, she's dancing. He comes to her house and tells her, I tried my best. They dropped him as an informant. But I just want to tell you that judge that gave him custody, he just had a heart attack and died at a porno house.
Oh my god.
And I was
he
like,
was at like some
what another
kind of...
subplot this is.
Yeah. So the judge that gave him custody freaking dropped dead. So now she has to wait 6 months for another trial.
This is 3 bodies that could be connected to her.
Yep.
It feels very awkward that he died. It doesn't have any attachment. It just randomly happened outside in the plot of this universe.
Well, he was at a whorehouse, not a strip club. So there's,
I think it was like an adult video house or something they said.
Oh, yeah, like one of those. But
it was like,
he
what?
freaking dies. So now she steals the freaking kid.
She kidnaps her child.
Yeah, and so Robert Patrick, he actually loves his daughter.
That's a funny
He tries
bit.
to get her back, but in the meantime gets his ass kicked by Ving Rhames because he shows up at the fucking strip club with a knife to Demi Moore's neck and tries to
Threatens
say,
murder.
"Hey, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't give me my kid back." Meanwhile, the kid is sitting with the strippers in the backstage.
Yes, Demi Moore keeps bringing her child, and this actually happened. You asked me. Yes, once again, we have another child watching strippers backstage.
Yeah, there's tits running about, and there's
This is a real
kid.
thing that occurred.
I asked you at one point, I was like, wait, is Rumor Willis literally in the scene, or did they do that whole forced perspective thing where they make it look like she's in the scene, but she's not really in
They
the scene?
could have, because the shot could have easily been forced perspective.
I don't think that
It
she was
wasn't.
looking at all those breasts.
She did. Apparently, that Demi Moore was asked, well, if the child is in the movie, she has to witness you stripping. And Demi Moore's like, that's fine. I have no problem with the female body, and my family knows my body.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
well,
It's questionable.
I mean, also, in all fairness, though, this is her daughter,
Yeah.
and she knows that she's making a film. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, because I was making sure I was paying attention, Demi Moore had the feather boa over her breast and did not turn around so Rumor Willis could see her breast exposed. She did have the feather boa over her breast when she was dancing. I did notice that.
No, she lifts it a few times.
I don't recall her lifting it in front of the kid.
There's never a shot where they're in the same shot. Like a perspective of an angle where she's in the foreground and she's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shot like that. There's just a flat shot of her face, and then we see the stripping. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't have to be in the same shot. And I don't know why they had to even film that or why they had to do that. They could have easily filmed it separately.
Right, and I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
okay.
very strange.
Well,
But what's funny, as you pointed out, is she's backstage, though, with all the strippers.
yeah, there's naked boobs just, bouncing around. And then at one point, one of the strippers comes out and her boobs are just out and exposed. And she covers up
She
really
goes,
quick.
whoops. Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like the kid's not in the same scene as the girls are, the naked girls. I just feel
She's
like
definitely in the shot with them because they keep showing her in the shot because there's a running joke where the daughter is teaching the strippers common sense stuff like Candyland and eights,
Crazy Eights.
Crazy Eights, which is, you actually said, you leaned over and went, I like that plot line. I like those two strippers. They're funny.
Well, they were sweet.
Yeah, one of them is like a famous stripper.
What'd you say?
The stripper.
Dancer, fat ass.
Dancer, she's a dancer. All right, look.
I think her name was Peaks or something.
Well,
Something.
I'll tell
funny.
you what, her boobs were so massive
Like
that she
triple Ds.
literally could have survived a water evacuation and in a plane crash and helped several people escape with their lives with those things. Those things were an entity.
All I could think when I see that is her back. Oh my God, her back. I feel terrible for her back. Like, I know that it's going to hurt her bad in the future.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those things that it's to excess here. I mean, you can have nice C's or even D's that look normal, like semi-normal. Those things
are
that
wild.
was like a some kind of spaceship.
Yeah, they're perfectly round
had
balloons.
landed. Yes,
Yeah.
they're perfect, but they're like so high, up to her neck. I was like, oh my God, like there's just no way. How do you wear clothing? I
Oh, I
just
know.
don't understand.
How do you find? You have to get special clothes made.
It was too much.
When she was driving the motorcycle, that's when it made us laugh because the shot is right up to her in the front with her putting her helmet on and then taking off. Like they waited for that shot to be perfect.
Yes, and I believe your comment was, well, at least she has airbags if she gets into an accident. But I mean, seriously, they're but the two strippers were so sweet. Like
They were
They were
sweet.
really sweet.
They had chemistry with them. It was kind of funny. It actually worked with them. They all kind of, I hate to use the word bounce, but they really bounced off each other well. Like it was funny. There's a part where randomly they're doing jump rope with her.
It was cute.
It made me laugh. It's funny. It's just like Robert Patrick makes me laugh. He's like high as a kite. And he's got like a broken arm because Ving Rhames broke it. And he put like a golf club as a brace. And it's just seeing him walk around with it kind of makes me laugh.
We have to talk about that whole scene with his sister, first of all. She's the one that's in Men in Black that has the shitty situation.
She plays a redneck or like a secretary,
Yes.
a bitchy secretary in every single
She's
movie.
Elaine's roommate in Seinfeld.
Yes. And the joke is there's a subplot where she has, you said wolves? There's some kind of animals, and she has claw marks all over her face.
head. And so she's the sister of Robert Patrick. So after he gets his ass beat and his arm broken by Ving Rhames, he goes to her and she bandages his arm, but as a splint uses a golf club. And instead of giving him Tylenol or any kind of medication, she gives him animal tranquilizers.
Yes. And he downs the whole bottle.
The whole bottle.
So the whole movie after that moment is him high as a kite.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But he actually goes to murder people. Now, he does beat the right hand guy. He actually says that of Burt Reynolds' character. He beats him, but he thinks to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, is this supposed to be a moment where you're supposed to think maybe he's killing people? But then I'm like, I don't know why this is. Yeah, he's too stupid. And he does later on say, well, this is the first time I ever killed anybody, and I thought it would be cooler than that. I feel terrible.
Well, after
he didn't actually kill the guy.
He didn't. He beat him up. But like the funny thing about it is, after Ving Rhames completely assaults him, he doesn't even care. He goes after Demi Moore. He steals a gun from his sister.
Yes.
Goes after Demi Moore. Follows her to
kill people.
the goddamn yacht where she goes to meet Burt Reynolds for a private dance, which he's paying her a whole shit ton of money for. She has an ulterior motive, but he follows her and then beats up his goon. Robert Patrick beats up his goon. And the best part about all of this is that he comes in, the gun is not loaded that he stole from his sister. But for some reason, she has a gun. Where did Demi Moore get a gun? And where the fuck was she hiding it? She was in like a negligee. So that's number one question. Number two question is, how did she get past his two security guards downstairs in the yacht when she was kidnapping Burt Reynolds? How did she get past those two? They were standing in the beginning of the yacht.
They're actually on board, and they can't hear the incident happen with the guy screaming for him. But when everything starts happening, like he goes downstairs to get him, they run upstairs and they find the guy beaten up. So they're on top of the boat.
Ah, okay.
There's another odd plot line where the random limo driver just so happens to team up with Demi Moore out of the blue in only a second, enough to remove the battery from a car while the two goons go upstairs. I'm like, how and when did they do this?
Yeah, so the driver, I guess he becomes friendly with Demi Moore, which makes no sense.
In a second.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to just turn on my employer and be your best friend, and I'm going to remove the battery from the goon's car so they can't follow us. So she goes to this yacht for a private dance with a complete plan. So she puts a gun on Burt Reynolds, hijacks the freaking limo, and the driver's just fine going along with all this. And the goons can't chase them because they have no battery in their car. But she conveniently leaves a note for Armand Asante on the mirror, written in lipstick, of she's going to the sugar factory. Like, basically, come here.
Yeah.
So this is where her plan is unfolding, that she wants to expose this congressman for being a sexual deviant, a murderer, and all this other shit.
Yeah, she has a very complicated plot line. It's virtually she does this only because they threaten her kid.
Yes, but all she had to do is tell Armand Asante what the situation was, that she was going to this yacht for a private dance and she was going to expose the congressman and to get everything on tape. But instead of doing that, it got all convoluted. And Robert Patrick, this is the best scene in the movie. I'm sorry. But Robert Patrick passes out in the limo only to come to decide that he needed some coffee because he's so fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts a cup in some kind of like electrical box, thinking it's a Mr. Coffee machine.
Yes.
Presses a button, and all the sugar falls down on the goons.
Yeah.
In a comical Scooby-Doo moment,
Yes.
where they're going to be unmasked as
Only
like
their
Old
heads
Man
are popping
Withers.
out.
Yeah.
We're going to talk now. If you've ever gone to the store and picked up a bag of sugar,
It's heavy as hell.
yeah, even like a 3 pound, it's like a brick. Now the chute opens and drops what I would say is a ton of sugar on 3 people, and their heads are perfectly sticking out like an anthill. And I'm like, they're not crushed beyond belief. I love that when Robert Patrick does this, he says, "I didn't ask for sugar." Now, you skipped over what I think is the most absurd, insane plot point ever. The cop figures all this out and decides to not only take the bouncer, but 2 strippers and a child
And the kid.
on a hot pursuit of a murder a murder mystery.
So the best thing about this, though, is Armand Assante, even though Ving Rhames does say, you don't want to call for backup, he's like, what am I going to say? That I'm pursuing a possible murderer with 2 strippers and a kid in the car?
Yeah, well, no, what he says, he actually says, there's a reason that nobody's investigating 2 murders. Because the cops are in their pocket, kind of a reference.
Yeah.
And then Ving Rhames says, so what you're saying is it's a bouncer and a detective against the whole thing? And he goes, don't forget we have 2 strippers and a child. Yeah, and he's like, we're kind of screwed. But I'm like, why would you bring them? Why would you put them in jeopardy?
Like, they could literally get hurt. There's a little, like, a baby involved. She was like, what, 5 or 6 years old? Like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He's like the worst cop ever.
Yeah.
So he gets to the boat and he sees that she wrote the in lipstick.
Yeah, you already said. Yeah, it already happened. They dumped the sugar.
Yeah, but I'm just like, why wouldn't you call for backup at that point?
So they do at that point, and because Demi Moore has planned this out so well that she actually invited the press at that exact moment. Now, this all had to have gone a perfectly to plan to have the news people show up at this exact moment.
It was a perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
What if they had been traveling from the yacht to the sugar factory and they got a flat tire and that delayed them? So would the news crew have arrived late, or before them?
Yes, exactly.
And messed up the whole plot?
But they would have already shown up and set up cameras, because when the woman gets in, they run in like breaking news has just occurred, but they were told that they were setting up a press conference. So a press conference, the news people would have already been there waiting. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell's happening? But the way they run in is like, I'm like, who the hell called Chopper 5? Who the hell called, Channel 6? Like, where are these people flying from? And I'm like, oh, Demi Moore called them. But still, why are they showing up like there's been a breaking news report?
Right. And this whole scene, Burt Reynolds is a married man, okay? He's a congressman. He's so obsessed with this woman, he asks her to marry him. Meanwhile, they're slow dancing, and she's recording on her big-ass 1980s style boombox,
Yeah, she has a big boombox.
Recording the whole...
She's taping over Annie Lennox.
Yes. Recording the whole conversation that she's having with the congressman. Now, he doesn't admit to any murders. He just admits that he wants to leave his wife, and he, she doesn't like him anyway and wants to marry her and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's really nothing incriminating on there that I can't even think of.
She goes, well, I never, you're a big man. You're, to have 2 people killed. And he goes, well, I told him, if you want to take care of it, take care of them.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember him saying that.
Yeah, and he also says something else. He's like, when someone tries to blackmail me, you got to take care of it.
When it tries to blackmail you, you got to deal with it. You got to be hard and you got to be firm.
Ooh, and you can dance.
You got to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
which is so funny because the blackmailer actually gave him the information he was asking everybody for. He wanted to know. There's a side character that disappears completely from this film that works for the Sugar family. That's some kind of like between.
He's like an intermediary. Yeah. Like, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, and he's got like a whole bunch of scenes that he disappears. Burt Reynolds is asking him, find my angel, because I don't know where I saw her because I don't have a memory anymore. So he doesn't do it because Stuart Pinkin actually brings it to him. And then here's the blackmailer. And also here's a picture of the woman that you're looking for. So it actually works out, and he still has that guy killed.
It's so shocking. Like, there's no reason.
All they had to do is pay these people.
Yes, they just had to pay them. And then, like, why even show us the goddamn whole scene of the sugar cartel? I mean, it makes no sense. There's so many plot lines in this that are so, like, convoluted and unnecessary to what's going on. This could have been a very simplified movie.
Yes. How big? You can cut the sugar factory, the whole thing. Just have a senator or whatever fall in love with her, become obsessed, have a couple characters, make it a murder mystery, bring in a love interest or whatever, make a smaller, tighter film of this woman trying to have custody of her child.
Mm-hmm.
and then get rid of all the stupid bullshit. There's so much of it. It could be an hour and a half.
It's terrible.
It's so easily an hour and a half. Let me ask you something. Is the sugar industry this big where you can kill people for it?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
Because if they're rich and it's such a big industry that they're worried that if they have Burt Reynolds out of it, by the way, he's such a loose end. You think they would just kill him and then have someone else just take his place and be easily running it?
Yes, he's just a dingbat, okay?
Yeah, even
he's
his
a puppet.
Yeah, he's a puppet and he's bad at it. And he's putting them in jeopardy constantly. Now, I'm like, why don't you just get rid of him and get the next person that wins in your pocket?
Right, exactly.
It's so dumb. The fact that they're killing people when they could just give them 50 grand and shut them up.
Right.
Like Demi Moore, instead of threatening her child, all you have to say is, look, there's some problems going on where the senator overstepped his bounds, is on picture. We don't want to lose this election. I'll give you 50 grand if you just shut up.
Right.
She's going to take it because the whole movie she's like, I have to take 5 grand for stripping because I need enough money to get out of stripping. Now 50 grand would help her.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's easy.
But then
you don't have to kill people for this.
Well, it would come off as though she's blackmailing them, and then they would probably kill her. But they threatened to
No, I'm saying just offer it to her. We'll
Yeah,
give
I
you this
guess.
much money. I know that you're looking to get out of stripping. Just take this money and go away. Just never talk about this again. That's all. The same thing with the guy who was going to blackmail them, right? The first guy who wanted to help Demi Moore out. All they have to do is like, you know what? If you shut up, we'll help that stripper that you want to get custody of her child. That's all you have to do.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they killed this guy.
Yeah.
That opens up a whole nother thing. The same thing with the lawyer. The lawyer is easy. You just pay him off and he'll shut up. I know that it'll never go away, but it's easier to pay him than murder him and have the investigation on your hands.
Right, and it seemed like everybody can be linked back to the eager beaver.
Everybody's linked back.
Everybody's
everybody's
linked.
attached. It's like that's why I was joking. Like the Inception level, the fact that the body floated up to the detective who would have been already the detective on the case is mind blowing.
It was so
like no other detective
ridiculous.
exists.
Ridiculous.
Like-
There's no other cops in this whole movie.
Yeah, does a
There's
detective come out of vacation the moment he finds a body? No, the other detectives on the case would have been called in.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too? His son.
He has no partner.
His son that found the body.
I found another
He's like,
floater.
Oh, I found a floater.
It's like it happens to him a lot.
Yeah, okay, that's like commonplace.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, isn't this beautiful? This is such a beautiful place. I can't believe this is near Miami. And then it was like a floater.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
Like,
there's a
what are
lot
the
of
odds?
floaters in Biscayne Bay.
Yeah. This movie it's crazy. And, you know, one of the other plot lines that's insane is that this limo driver sides with Demi Moore enough to commit crime and then flee people shooting at him to only have Burt Reynolds bash him over the head with a rock, and you think he's dead. Then he just shows up in the last shot of the movie looking like he's dead by staring out the window.
Yeah, the reason that
Not moving.
The reason that plot line is so stupid is because what if her plan was foiled and then he was busted out looking like a traitor? They would have just shot him on sight. You know? What if her plan was foiled and he was implicated in it?
We didn't even talk about foiled plots. The two bodyguards come with the handler, and they pull guns on Burt Reynolds and Demi Moore, and they go, "You're an idiot. You just implicated yourself. Now we're gonna have to kill you both, right? And we'll make it look like a murder suicide." And then the only reason they're stopping, first off, all they have to do is shoot them because no one has a gun in this situation.
Right.
But then Vig Rhames shows up, and so they're like, put a gun on him, and for some reason they don't instantly shoot him. They let him walk toward them.
It's amazing.
And the only reason there's a gunshot out of the hand is that the detective shoots it, but Ving Rhames does a jump that is like a belly flop that comes out of the sky. He just jumps basically 2 feet, and somehow he's on top of them, crushing them.
Yeah,
It's
quite amazing.
It's baffling.
He has no weapon whatsoever.
Yeah,
They have guns.
Why aren't they shooting? This is not a standoff. You're in control. You have the high ground.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. So after all this, it ends with the congressman getting arrested,
Yep.
and the police have the confession and all this stuff on tape. But here's the thing: what about the goddamn sugar cartel?
Yeah.
Aren't they going to come after Demi Moore now?
I agree. Aren't they
She's-
outed now? Isn't this like a
Yes.
downfall of like dominoes?
Yes. Finn.
Yeah, Finn. That's it.
Finn.
Happy ending. Everybody gets to go in the limo and drive off with the guy in the guy's limo who's been beat over the head.
Yep.
They're all witnesses. They would be brought into the station. Instead, they're just let go because the detective only has the boombox. That's it.
Yep, that's
I don't
it.
need anything else.
That's fine. Let's
Everybody
end the
go
movie
home.
there.
Yeah. Everybody go home. It is so unusually muddled in so many plot points that are bafflingly stupid. Like, why are we going here? Why are we doing this? It's so easy to cut this down and make this a tighter film.
Oh my god.
But you know what's crazy about it is it's still the best movie we watched this month.
Oh my god, I know. I know. It is.
It's actually we said this earlier. We already kind of buried the lead. We just opened and said we kind of like it. Like it's a mess. I would say, and I gave this movie a 5, and I think I stand by it. I think it's a mediocre mess.
I know.
But it is kind of weirdly charming in certain areas.
It's like it's like borderline so bad it's good, but it's good. You know, like I don't know how to put it. It's not a good film. It's not well put together at all. It's too convoluted for just such a simple StripTease is the name of the movie. StripTease. Like that name would suggest something very basic, you know?
Yeah.
That title is a very basic title. You just feel like it's going to be a skin flick, you know? That's not what you're getting here. You're getting a plot. It's a very convoluted and ridiculous plot, and the characters in it, being Burt Reynolds and Ving Rhames and Robert Patrick, are completely ridiculous characters. I mean,
Yeah.
Ving Rhames to a lesser extent, but the other two are caricatures.
Even Big Rames is kind of a mess because at certain points he seems like a badass.
Yes.
And then when he's shown a body, he starts getting very squeamish and he's going to throw up and he's like a little baby.
True.
And like it's a mess too. It doesn't really make sense.
Nothing makes sense. I mean, the strippers use their real names. There's only one bouncer in this entire
Yes,
club.
that's true, too.
Okay, one bouncer. This woman will be hunted for the rest of her life for giving up, a congressman, because there's always going to be someone next in line that wants to get her for fucking up their business.
Yeah. And she still has to strip, so that plot line's not over.
Right. And
She never
she's-
got money.
She still technically, even though she had, okay, so there's a point in the movie where she had Robert Patrick, when he was all drugged up on tranquilizers, sign his name to a document saying, I will relinquish my, parental rights and whatever, give you custody. So the kid doesn't end up in foster care. Why the kid would end up in foster care is beyond me, because she is a decent mom. She
Yeah,
just
but they're going to say,
happens to
oh, she's
be
a stripper.
a stripper.
Yeah.
Yes. So I did say that in the beginning because I was like, oh, that's not exactly an ideal lifestyle for a child.
And she knows it.
Yeah, she knows it. She doesn't want to do it anymore. She wants to move away and, have a normal life. And I get it. So, but I just feel like this movie was so, jump right into the silliness with the whole, okay, I lost my job at the FBI. I can't get another job anywhere else on Earth. So I have to resort to being a stripper. But damn, she's got a hot body. She was already fit under that.
That's what I said. I was laughing.
That
like,
desk job, she don't have secretary spread or anything like that. She is fit as a fiddle. She's looking good. So she was already set for that striptease job.
Can we talk about the fact that she was married into that family in the first place?
Okay.
Why was an FBI, like a woman working for the FBI as a secretary, anything? It doesn't matter what job it is. If she's working for like a high-ranking part of our government, why the hell would she have married a redneck trailer person?
He's
Unless
the
they're
worst.
suggesting that they were high school sweethearts or something.
They never said
But
it.
She's like in perfect shape. It's so weird, and they have no. And one of the funniest things, you kind of mentioned it, was that he's high, and he's like, "I love that little girl," and she's like, "I know you do, but that's beyond the point." He's like, "You do know." Like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of quaint. And it's like it works, but you're just like, where were they ever in love with each other? Like, how did this ever happen?
No, these two people would never have made a child together.
Why? Yeah, why? I can understand if she accidentally got pregnant with him, and that was where the custody battle came in, and they were never married. but they were married. It made me think that this character was the Jamie Presley character from My Name is Earl. You know, like, that's who she should be. She should be this character, because Jamie Presley is, like, also living in a trailer, but she's also fit.
Oh,
You know,
she's beautiful.
I know,
you
but-
big dummy.
Yeah, but she's, like, super in shape, because I think
Yeah.
she was doing, like, Dead or Alive, the movie, and she was, like, super ripped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this woman... Like, why doesn't she,
She
have,
lives
like,
in a motel with...
No, she lived in a trailer with
did she live
Crabman.
in a trailer with
Yeah.
Crabman?
But they lived
That's
in a
right.
hotel.
They lived in a hotel.
Earl.
Oh my god. It's just
But,
ridiculous.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like Demi Moore's character would live in the trailer. It doesn't make sense that she worked for the FBI, was with this guy.
Right, it doesn't at all.
If he was like, if they changed his character and made him like a Wall Street guy that got addicted to drugs and was like gambling and made stupid mistakes and was kind of like an idiot, then it would have been like, oh, he wasn't this guy when we got married. I didn't, only later on did I realize.
Right.
But the FBI does checks.
It also makes you kind of wonder about her character, like her judge of character.
That's
Like,
what I'm getting
what
at.
is wrong with you?
Maybe
you are
that's why she got
beautiful.
fired.
You're amazing. You could find somebody better than this freaking turd. I'm like shocked.
And it's like, I guess it always makes me laugh too that these characters, like, why was Demi Moore already not like, you just looking at her, you're like, oh, she's a model. Like, you know, she could be a model. Like, she could do something else, like, instantly. That's why I think Aaron Brockovich works so well, because, you know, Julia Roberts kind of looks, oh, she's intimidating, pretty, but she's also, they made her a way where she's kind of like offish and she's like brass. So
Yeah,
it
she's a
kind of
bitch.
works like,
Yeah.
okay, you could see why she was having a hard time getting jobs.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, she's kind of like a jerk. You know, she's not too pretty. She's kind of tacky. You know?
Yeah, she's kind of got a little bit of I don't want to say I don't want to say trashy.
Yeah.
But she's doesn't dress, very subtle.
Yeah. But then every time in this movie, where it's funny is that Demi Moore's always like wearing a unbelievable dress. Or like
looked amazing.
the perfect tan.
Yep.
And you're like, you're having a hard time getting a job.
Her whole body was glistening. I'm like, okay, worst case scenario
She would have been a
is-
waitress if
like,
that was how hard.
right? I'm telling you. Let me tell
She
you
could have
something.
been a killer bartender.
Yes, a bartender
Could
or
make a lot of
something.
money.
Like, but she could have found, like, okay, fine, you work in a strip club as, like, you serve drinks. Okay, fine. You could have found some, unsuspecting old man who just wanted some, some
You're talking about
rich
like
old
gold
man.
digging?
Yeah, like, come on, dig some gold.
I think I gave her a little more respect than you are.
I don't have any respect for her, really, because look who she married. It's stupid idiot.
It is stupid, and it's even more ridiculous that she decides to go stripping.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why it would have made sense if she at least found some old man to become obsessed with her and, hey, I'll give you everything and, whatever. And all you have to do is just, shove your boobs in my face once a week.
If they at least like added a couple minutes of saying that she was like blackballed everywhere.
It just made no sense.
But I mean, like, try somehow to make it make sense that she can't get a job, because you're sitting there the whole movie laughing at it. Like, there's a part where she's looking in the yellow books, right? The yellow pages, I mean.
Mhm.
And you think, oh, she's looking for a job. No, she's actually calling news people to get, and she could do all that, but she
Mhm.
can't find another job in the yellow pages.
Right. I mean, honestly, let's face it. She was making killer money. So
She said that too.
you
Where am I
know-
going to find as much money as I am making right now?
right, like you can have a respectable desk job, and
you're-
make $7 an hour, but that's not paying the bills. I mean,
Yeah, but at least she doesn't have to. If she's so worried about taking care of her kid, and that the stripping is only adding to the lunacy of not getting your kid, then why take that job? It's like you're purposely making bad decisions.
yeah.
If you're worried about that, then don't take that stripping job. Take a job that's not paying, as much, but still trying to make a means ends meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to do something where you're getting enough money to live. If that's the problem, or if the only real question here is that she wants a shitload of money from stripping,
Yeah.
and she likes it.
I mean, let me tell you something. If I had that body and I was making that kind of money, I can hear you scratching your beard. Stop it.
Sorry.
if I was making that kind of money and I didn't have to, have sex with people or let them touch me, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And that's another weird moment in this movie, is that multiple times in the movie she kind of mentions, oh, I know it's a good job. I know it's a living, because people are like, it's a good living. And she's like, I know it is, and you know it is. But I can't do this forever if I want to have my child be taken care of. And it's like...
I mean, you really would be giving her a good life because the money is really good.
Yeah, it's like this. You can't have it both ways, movie.
Right.
You're either saying that stripping isn't good if you want to live a real life, or you're saying that, you know what, though? My family and the strip family is nice. Which they do. It's so strange. They act like all the strippers are great to each other. Well, meanwhile, Showgirls is like, nope, every stripper's trying to kill each other.
Yeah, that's true. They are. But, anyway, so you're giving this a 5?
I feel like it fits perfectly mediocre. Like, it's kind of forgettable. It's one of those movies that you've seen, you know about, but I don't think it is the worst movie ever made. I don't think it's even close to that. I think it's perfectly in the middle here, where it's like, it's kind of like it touches on both sides. It touches on being the worst, and it touches on being not so bad, kind of fun. So I feel like 5 is perfect for balancing in the middle.
Yeah, I too am going to give it a 5. I didn't hate this.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So that brings us to our segment of called Why We Can't Have Nice Things, where I will read 2 extremes of internet reviews, a 1-star and a 10-star. Pretty much proof that people can ruin the movie rating system, and that no matter what, there's always going to be someone out there who fucks it up for the rest of us. And I'm going to start with our 1-star review. Well, the 1-star review that I found is... I got nothing on this. But, yeah, I got Avoid Like the Plague. I don't care if Demi Moore was nude dancing beside me in the theater. That couldn't prevent me from walking out on this cheese fest. How could Burt Reynolds even think about walking off the set of Boogie Nights, yet think that this was a cherry roll? Heck, I would have even starred in Smokey and the Bandit 3 before I would get near this sorry pile of vomit. Overall, it's the only movie I've ever walked out of. I will never have it be viewed by my eyes again. That's what he says. 1-star review.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
I always say that a movie like we now have our list, and we have like Dinosaur Island is like the worst movie we've done on the show since we started making the list. And you think about Dinosaur Island and the problems with it, right? And you go, okay, that's a bad movie. Where you look at this and you go, okay, this is passable. There's things about it that here and there are funny. There are moments of funny jokes. There are some funny acting bits. It's not that bad in comparison. And I always have to say to those people that give 1-star movies, like 1-star to movies like this, I always have to say, we haven't seen many bad movies.
Yeah,
that's true. And it's like, if that's the worst, you have a real far drop ahead of you. I walked out of Do Where's My Car? I walked out of that movie, and I still don't think it's as bad as some of the movies I've seen.
I don't know. We never finished it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so my 10-star review is fantastic. It's the title of it. Now, I'm going to tell you, this review pissed me off. It did. Big time. All right, here we go. It's just a straight-up guy movie. No intricate plot, just stripping. Demi Moore has an excellent body. Considering she was a mother at the time, it's unbelievable. Yes, it's just a movie for perverted men, but that doesn't mean it can't be funny and worth watching. Ving Rhames plays his character well, making him hilarious and interesting. I've only seen the original, but it makes me wonder how much extra could be in the unrated version. Hopefully that'll be really worth a watch. Just from the title of the movie, you keep watching to see her perfectly sculpted body, but you have to wait through a few strip scenes before you get to see her breasts. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, first of all, this
That's
is
a
not
shame.
just a movie for perverted men. There's a plot here.
It does make me feel bad for saying anything about her, body or boobs or whatever.
Considering she was a mother at the time, like, Okay, so you're telling me that because someone had a baby, they can't, look good because they had a baby, so their bodies won't look good anymore. They can't. I don't understand. I don't understand that line.
Well,
at
I
all.
think that there's an idea that when you get a certain age and you have a baby or whatever, it's hard to get back into shape. I mean, I will agree that, like, we've said it too. We've met people and we're like, oh my God, like, you look amazing. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, also, this is a film. This woman was paid $12 million.
yeah. She has a
Now,
coach. Yeah.
all you have to do with your whole entire life is have your nanny watch your kid while you're at the gym with a personal trainer. That's what you have to do. If someone paid me $5,000, I would be at the fucking gym.
Yeah.
If someone was paying me that. I mean, this woman made $12 million. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And
Yeah.
her husband is Bruce Willis at the time.
Absolutely. No, I know. I agree with
Like,
you. I understand. I was just saying I can kind of understand that joke, but to give a movie like this 10 because of boobs is upsetting. And it makes me feel like I have to question my own talking about it because I don't want to be one of those guys who's like, oh, the only benefit is this thing. I would, and I hope that's not how I came across, but that sucks. I just really don't like when a person writes a review and says something like that. Is the reason I love this movie is because boobs. Like, there's no anything behind it, or you can't even see like, oh, I like how much she was able to get into shape and all that kind of stuff, and it's appreciating that.
Mhm.
I hate it. I know it's so friggin' weird.
I don't know. I mean, this guy's giving this movie a 10 out of 10, which means it's a perfect film.
A perfect film.
It's not.
Again, I mean,
Like, but here's the thing. It sounds like there's a lot of negativity in that review as well.
oh yeah.
So, like,
in that
what are you
review
saying?
itself, yeah, the person doesn't seem to like it as much either. I love. By the way, I have to point this out because the review pointed this out. Did we watch the unrated version? Because there is a lot of unnecessary stripping in this that we got.
Maybe we did.
Especially from that one from Showgirls. The girl from Showgirls just randomly gets like a good 5-minute dance.
Yeah, how did we tell if we watched this on Tubi?
Yeah, I wonder. I would love to know the time and what would else be cut out if we didn't.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It was 2 hours.
What could be cut out? Yeah.
I got nothing
I
else.
have seen the television edit of this movie. I have seen like clips of it, or I saw it was like on TBS or whatever, and they seem to have refilmed scenes where she doesn't take her top off. So I'm like, they must
That's
have done
weird.
2 edits.
Well, I mean, a lot of the reviews that I read were, making commentary about how, her terrible commentary about how her breast looks so fake and ridiculous, and they understand why she, never made any, good movies later on. Like, she kind of just dropped off from Hollywood because she was.
It's a shame.
Yeah, and I'm just like, first of all, those reviews, you shouldn't write stuff like that. Number one, that's just rude.
Yeah, well, so it's a bad thing to have your breast done? No, it's not. That's what makes you feel good about your body. Like, I don't understand that.
I mean, if you want to get your breast done, go ahead. Good on you. Do it because you want to feel good about yourself in some way. Like, I'm not an advocate for plastic surgery. I just don't. I wouldn't put myself through that, unless I had to. But people want to feel good about themselves. Let them do it in the way that they want to. It's nobody else's business. Like, leave her alone.
Yeah, I don't know why they would even judge her on that. Like, why is this a problem? A lot of women, famous women, used body doubles.
Right.
And so, what's worse? Like having a hiring, oh, I like that woman's boobs better, so I want her to stand in for my boobs. It's like, at least Demi Moore is like, no, I am proud of what I have. You know what I mean? So it's like,
she looked phenomenal. I mean, you
yeah, and it's
cannot-
like, is that something to frown upon?
It's just people trying to find something to bitch about.
So
Like,
weird.
Oh, okay, her boobs look fake. Well, number one, she does have implants, so they are fake, but
Yeah.
they still look beautiful. I mean,
Yeah,
she
they look
looks
pretty.
phenomenal in this movie. Leave her alone. Like, I'm just so sick of this.
And I hate the fact that like stars like this disappear. like a little bit. You know, her career definitely took a dive after these two movies, and that is a shame. It's a friggin' shame.
When did she do Indecent Proposal and all that?
I think before this.
Before this? Yeah. And then she came back and she did Charlie's Angels. She was in that. Second
that
one,
was a lot of
right?
people were talking about her return.
Yeah. And she still looked beautiful in that too. And I still think she's gorgeous. I think she looks beautiful now. People are such fuckers. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got to
Well,
say.
you know what? We always ask the question, is this the worst movie ever? And we're both saying no.
Absolutely
so
not.
On our list that we've compiled, starting to do this, we're at 38 movies. Now, I think we're both going to agree this is at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it's definitely at the bottom.
I think you might agree with me. Is this better or worse than Mortal Kombat 2021?
No, it's worse.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Well, then the next one up is It's a Wonderful Knife.
I think it's worse than that.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm afraid to keep going down. All right, this is definitely better than Exorcist Believer.
Oh, God. We're going to get so much shit for this.
Is it? Are we? I think everybody kind of agrees
I
that Exorcist
mean,
Believer is not good.
Exorcist Believer is really not good, but there were some elements in it that were freaky as hell.
The first 15 minutes were decent, and then the rest was like garbage.
Yes, but this movie was nonsensical and too convoluted.
I still think I'd watch this before Exorcist Believer. I actually want to pretend like it never happened.
You know what? I'd rather actually watch Exorcist Believer again.
Okay. So I'm going to put this right underneath Street Fighter, which we both admit is a masterpiece.
Okay.
This is our number 33 film. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It's crazy.
All right, everybody. That is the show. And I think we're going to throw in a towel on this StripTease. And this is TNA month, completely a debacle. But you know what? I will say we went all over the board on this month. Because we started with Showgirls, which your mind was blown. How much you didn't like it.
I despise that movie.
And then we watched Evil Toons, which was tongue-in-cheek trash.
Yes.
And then we watched what we consider the worst movie we've done on the show so far, Dinosaur Island.
Oh, God.
Only to go back up to with this movie saying, once again, you know what? Not the worst. And I think the only reason we're saying that is we just came off at Dinosaur Island.
Oh, my God, yeah. This one's the best of the group.
Of the crew, without a doubt.
100%.
Yeah. And like we said, number 33, pretty impressive on our scale. I mean, that's why we do the show, right? We're constantly trying to dissect what is a bad movie, what makes a bad movie, and some of these movies that get bad movie status, are they really that bad in comparison to the other movies we've seen? Kind of. It's an interesting topic. I love seeing it every time we watch a movie. We're like, what is worse than did we get any enjoyment out of it? We were laughing a bunch during this.
Yeah, we did. I laughed at parts that there was a lot of ridiculousness, and I laughed. And I actually like when I can do that in movies. You know, like I just where there's so much like seriousness in it, and then out of the blue something ridiculous happens, and I just can't help but do my like hearty laugh that like scares the shit out of you every time I do it.
I love it. Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm going 5.
Yeah, it's an odd choice probably, but with all the movies we've seen in comparison, yeah. All right, so thank you for listening as always. We're on social media on Instagram always. I'm at the Just Another Movie Night, and Joe is at the Crafty Misfit. Write us, tell us how much you hate StripTease or not, please, and tell us movies that we think we should do in the show. I'd love to hear it. And we thank you for once again, and have a good one. Bye.
What do you know about Prozac?
Makes you happy. There's side effects.
Like what?
Limp noodle.
Who cares? I haven't had a hard-on since I started running this place. Closest I got was SeaWorld. Porpoise got me hot.
What the fuck you telling me that for?
Go next door, see what Lee's up to.